Well, I love going to Nicaragua. Every time I go to Nicaragua, it's such a great feeling because, or not only because my family's from there, Nicaragua is my culture. I love it. It's definitely a very humbling experience when I go over there. Not to say that the whole country is bad, because first and foremost, what I've learned from traveling to multiple countries, there's a lot of bad parts to a lot of areas. Even here in the United States, it's not always all sunshine and rainbows over here. There's some really, really tough and bad spots over here. Especially growing up in Miami, I've seen those. But every time I go to Nicaragua, I always like being in the city. It's a tough scene, but yeah, I love how people still find a way to find happiness there. Around like 7, 8 o'clock, it gets super dark and there's no street lights. There's barely any street lights. So I remember I was telling my driver when I got to the airport in Managua, and first of all, you have to pay $10 to come into the country, which is silly. When my driver picked me up, it was around like 7 o'clock. The sun was already going down. We went to the gas station. I picked up some beers, and we were driving, and it was so much. There was a lot of traffic, right? And the street lights, there was like barely any street lights, and if they were super, super dim. So I'm like, man, it gets really, really dark here. And he's like, yeah, you cannot walk around here at night whatsoever by yourself, because something will happen to you. And even driving out there at night, if they see a phone through a window, they'll punch through the window, steal your phone. They don't care what they need to do to get that. It's always the safest to drive with the most black tinted windows you can find, because it gets rowdy out there in the country, where it's very politically driven and very poor. There's a lot of people struggling out there. And even the experience, even sleeping in a very hot room, where outside you can hear everything. You can hear the roosters in the morning. It feels like you're sleeping on the sidewalk, because you can't block out the noise and everything like that from where I was staying. And there's no AC, and it's super hot out there. So you just gotta find a way to get comfortable and find a way to make best of that situation. But it's humbling, because when I come back over here, you're in this nice AC, there's street lights, and the roads are, we could say some bad things about Tampa roads, but the roads are a lot better than over there. And it's just easier to get into in a safer environment over here than it is over there. And then obviously going over there to have the food and the drinks, just to be as authentic as possible over there, and than it is over here. Over here in the United States, you can find like the best Nicaraguan food in Miami only. You can't go anywhere else. There's nowhere else in the nation that has comida nicaragüense. I've tried it in Fort Myers, I've tried it in Tampa, and there's nothing. So everybody from Nicaragua, they literally, if they go into the States, they go like to Miami, or some are in Texas, California. It's crazy when I come back over here and I see people complaining about things. I'm like, I feel like you haven't traveled enough outside of where you're at, because once you kind of see those humbling things, and seeing how they don't have like hot water, like cold water, everything is just super, like, it's not as sanitary as it is over here. A way bigger mission to get things done than it is over here. Again, the roads are like very jam-packed. The buses, you can see a bunch of people just like plastered on the walls and on the windows. They have no choice but to be happy for what they have, and make sure that they get through on how they want to get through. And it's also I love the country, man. I love it so much, and I would love to go back every single year if possible. Is it dangerous? Every place is dangerous. Depending on who you ask, and depending on what you do, every place is dangerous. But I just look at it differently. I always say I would recommend going anywhere. I'd go to the most quote unquote dangerous country, because there's people there that can protect you, and there's people there that there's tourist friendly spots, because tourism brings in money. If you don't have that attraction, then you're only setting yourself up for failure. So I always say, proceed with caution for sure. Where you're going, if you want to be in the city, just go to some touristy places there. You'll be fine. There's no problem. You won't be bothering anybody. Just be careful with those things that I told you about. But I love the country. I love Nica. I love my Nicaraguenses, and I hope I'm back over there soon.